Okay, apparently it's Thursday, and it's Thursday night, and it's 9 o'clock in the UK, which means it's time for the Thursday night fully loaded hangout on the Brain Dump channel. And as you can see, Rich is really enthralled tonight. He's looking forward to a good session. And talking of which, so let's kick off. Say hello to everybody, and let's do that by going to Bobby first.
Hi, boys and girls.
Oh, that's very nice. Here's Bobby. Richard Carnbiker, would you like to say hello to everyone?
Hello!
Sometimes I worry about Richard. Right, let's go across the Skeggy.
As a very good friend of mine once said, every time he did a video, greetings, citizens of the internet!
Bonjour!
S42?
Right, I keep forgetting to you very quickly. After Suffolk Handy.
Hello, boys and girls. Welcome to YouTube land.
Brilliant. And just strolled in at the last minute. Who's blending very nicely with his wall.
Welcome to the interweb, crazy folks.
Oh, yes. Get crazy.
Yeah, I suppose Keith is a very paid sort of person, isn't he?
What's that?
Crazy.
What is it? Take the piss out of me again, Knight?
No,
That's every night. That's standard.
don't be silly.
It's a good job I don't give a shit.
It's not an insult, Keith. It's sort of
It's a kind of a... Yeah,
day and age, you know, it sort of goes with everything.
yeah, like...
Keith, it's a love thing, son.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
That's what
I'll give you a big sloppy kiss on Saturday.
You've seen the weather for Saturday.
It's only light rain.
Yeah, it says light rain.
be a wet.
Okay.
Right, so
I promise I won't use my tongue though, Andy.
Keith,
What?
you know when someone gives you an inch?
Yeah, don't take it yard.
Yeah, don't lick it.
You never know where it's been before it's given to you.
One way to polish your helmet, Keith.
Don't get me started.
Yeah.
Sometimes these hangouts just kind of gradually go downhill, and in other times they just start at the bottom of the hill.
Yeah, they kind of just go off a cliff straight away.
As Yaz might say, the only way is up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
True.
you and me now. Right, okay. Let's stop there before I show my age. Let's quickly go to the Q&A. Got some people saying hello, everyone. So let's go to Constant Biker to start with. And he says, hey, everyone, not been around for a while. Well, it's good to see you on, Constant Biker, and hello.
So Constant Biker's been kind of inconstant then.
Yeah.
The intermittent biker.
Yeah, you should have thought about that name, shouldn't you, really?
That's all right. He's good. I'll forgive him.
Maybe it's a state of mind rather than an actual activity.
Absolutely.
Welcome to another very deep and meaningful Mr. and Mrs. B's Brain Dump hangout.
Yeah. We'll be having some meaningful thoughts, and Richard's going to be talking about angels.
I'm offsetting Bobby. I thought he was lowering the tone.
Right.
No, I'm just horny.
Aren't we all, Bobby? Aren't we all?
I thought we were starting to climb the mountain there, but it didn't.
Is climbing the mountain a euphemism?
No.
Only in Bobby's case. For me, it's tripping over the mountain.
Mounting Bobby at any point, any time in the future. Right.
Feel good about it after a dog rush.
Right, so anyway, yeah, morning Constant Biker, or afternoon or evening. I think it's afternoon, evening. I just quickly noticed that someone else has popped in. For God's sake, guys, with the flipping character face, it's Skeggy.
Well, no, I'm just, you know, I feel that I really look like Rufus Hound now.
Right.
You're looking dog rough tonight, Skeggy.
No,
All
it's
the masks helping.
I think he's looking a little bit more like Chaz, actually.
Except much taller. Very
Yeah.
much taller.
Yeah, the lion out of Wizard of Oz.
I think he's just preparing to go out tonight, dogging, obviously. Right, okay, so enough of those silly faces. We have got a couple more visitors. We have Danny. Would you like to say hello, Danny?
Hello.
Hello, Danny.
Hi, Danny.
Hey, Danny, is that a bolt stuck in your ear, though?
That was me earlier. Sorry about that.
Excellent stuff. Hi, Danny. Welcome along. First time for you, is it?
It is first time.
Excellent. You're more than welcome, of course, and enjoy the chaos that will ensue. Okay, and also we have a peddler.
Hello.
Hello,
Hello.
Pedro.
How are you, everyone?
Is it Pedro?
Bandits.
Pedro, Peds, whichever one you want to call
Oh,
Speedo.
young
Oh,
folk.
no, that's
No, there's
not
no.
Pedro.
Oh, there is.
sorry.
And before anyone makes the assumption, I'm from Portugal, not Spain.
Yeah, and also to point out that he's not really wearing lipstick.
Yes, that too. I'm not wearing lipstick.
I haven't noticed yet.
Boss.
Put your glasses on, Andy.
Hang on, mate.
There you
Fuck,
go.
he's got lipstick on. What the fuck is going on with this hangout?
Oh,
You
dear.
didn't tell me to put me fucking dress on, Andy.
Now you have one.
The one I sent you the other week, I thought you was going to wear it.
Oh no, mate, we'd have clashed.
Oh, okay, mate. You know I look even better than you, innit?
Of course you do.
Yeah.
You fill yours out better than me.
I always look pregnant, actually, but there you go.
Oh, God. Gives new meaning to dress down.
Right, let's quickly go back to the Q&A and then we'll go to the panel. We'll see what news and topics we might have for tonight to entertain the viewers. Okay, so let's go to Devon Mellon. Devon Mellon. He says, "Hi guys, does Keith ever stop smiling?"
Yes, between the hours of 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, I do not smile.
Or when you're trying to find the cap, the equivalent reservoir, and
Yeah.
knock your bike over.
Yes, I wasn't very happy that day.
I bet you weren't smiling then.
No, I was doing lots of F's and Jeffs that day. Skeggy would have been very proud.
No recording of it. It never happened.
No, I didn't record it. I was kind of thinking it was going to turn into be one of those days, and I was right.
No, you should always record that stuff.
Yeah.
It went, oh, for goodness sake.
Yeah.
Oh dear, no, it's all
Oh.
damaged.
I am a silly man.
Yes.
Oh look, my indicator's in pieces.
You silly boy.
More like a silly boy here.
Right, moving on from that, let's go to
Yes,
Big Kev in Australia. He says, "Good morning, chaps."
Morning,
Morning.
Kev.
mate.
Good
G'day, Kev.
Morning, everyone.
G'day, good morning. Oh, funny, my sister-in-law. Yeah, she's in Australia. She's moved out there. Right. There you go. Right. Anyway, there you go. A little snippet of news for you. Also, we have another message from the Constant Biker, and he says, I'm still on my bike, just not a lot happening on the roads. Camera not working 100%. Computer too slow to edit, and we've just had a baby.
Oh.
Cool things to do.
Congratulations.
Good old
That's what people ever learn.
What?
No, I think I'd rather have a puppy. At least they.
At least
Oh,
somebody
my sister-in-law said the exact same thing. She'd rather look after my dog than look after our kids.
I've got a bunch of kids. I'll tell you, babies are fantastic, especially this Petra.
Have you got a dog, Bobby?
No, but I've got a ton of snakes.
Have you ever had a dog?
Yes, love dogs.
Was it better than the kids?
Tastes like.
Better than the kids.
I tend to find that it's harder to train the kids to fetch your pipe and slippers than it is the dogs. No?
I noticed that Bobby didn't answer my question.
Oh, he's like, what's your point?
I gotta say it's easier to train a dog, but it's so much more rewarding to have the kids. I love my kids.
Yeah, but you can put a dog in kennels and go on holiday, can't you?
You can't put kids in a home and go on holiday, can you?
I thought you were going to say, Richard, you can put a dog down and not many people complain.
Oh, that's terrible. Oh, I thought I was the sick fucker around here, but bloody hell.
It's going to be one of them nights.
As always.
Skeggy's on fucking form.
Anyway, Constant Biker, mate, congratulations. Enjoy it. And hopefully at some point in the next, well, maybe about 6 months from now, you can look forward to getting a night's sleep. Brilliant. Right. So, yeah, congratulations, buddy. Good old Bex88 says, yeah, when he runs out of cereal. Obviously, the only person, when we say cereal in this hangout, we're talking about Keith, obviously.
Yeah.
Keith in his infamous cereal bowl.
Sometimes we talk about cereal with Suffolk Andy as well.
Yeah,
but it's usually then followed by another word. And
yeah, sheep, and then sham. Okay, so hi Bex, and also we've got Captain. Oh, here we go.
Rambunctious.
Thank you, Andy.
Howdy, Ballyho.
Yeah, Ballyho, old chap.
And anyway, he says, good evening, gentlemen. What would be faster around a track, a Triumph Thruxton or a Triumph Thunderbird Storm or Skeggy's bike?
Skeggy's bike.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Yeah,
I gotta go with Skeggy's bike.
Yeah, it's more agile, I would say, and it'd have the Thruxton on acceleration.
And he's got to remember as well, Skeggy is a legend, so that legend will get him past the post.
Or a maniac and don't like people being in front of me.
No, that legend wouldn't let it would have happened, Skeggy. So you'd get in front at least by a good fucking couple of feet.
Hey, but I'm funny is if I go in front, no fucker will get past me.
That's true. Anti-passing bars.
Well, I was gonna say, you know, Andy, if he keeps blowing smoke up his ass, his head will get there faster than the legend or the bike.
Okay, so I think the answer was Skeggy's bike there, Captain. So there we go. Right. So Kev's got a question for the panel. We'll find out soon what that question is. So whilst that's on its way, let's go across the panel and see what news and topics they've had a whole week to prepare for this week. And let's do it the other way round for once. We're always going to Bobby first. I don't know why he always ends up on my left, but I'm going to go to Suffolk Andy. Any news and topics, buddy?
Not really. Only that I haven't been out of this friggin' house since Monday with the lurgy, but I was on Tuesday night and started talking about killing people in woods and putting them in shallow graves. And I just thought, that's a bit much. I'm getting off here because I'm sounding like some sort of fucking serial killer.
I always thought you were off to do it.
No. So I thought I'm getting off here. I haven't been on the bike all week, mate, and I'm trying to get myself fit for Saturday. So hopefully, fingers crossed, I'll get there. So I'm just hoping. So no, not a lot.
Okay. So you're trying to prepare to get really wet on the weekend?
Oh, I'd die if I had to go now, but by Saturday, hopefully, I'll get there.
Okay. Well, hopefully you do, buddy.
Yeah.
Right, let's pop across to Skeggy. He's always got some good preparation of topics and subjects and news. So, Skeggy.
News? No. You know why?
No, what?
Nothing's happened. This is Skegness, don't forget. Nothing has happened. Nothing at all. Nothing. Topics. Apart from them having a nasal nut in every bike, I did sort of think along the lines of, would you say, it might seem a stupid topic, but would you say that some bikes are going a bit ridiculous on the seat height?
Okay, as in the adventure bikes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Would Mr. B say that the seat height was too high?
I rode that Suzuki V-Strom, and that's got a high seat height. So.
Yeah, but you stood on a box to get on it. It don't count.
10-inch heels.
Heels aren't going to happy when you're trying to stand up on a bike, but I managed to do tippy toes on the V-Strom. There we go. I can't believe I just said tippy toes. Anyway, let's move on to Richard. Richard, any news and topics, buddy?
Well, Ace Cafe meet on Saturday, hopefully. Don't know whether we'll get a chance to talk about that today, until while we're live or afterwards, whatever. But 4 of the people on here are hopefully meeting up at Peterborough or near Peterborough. So I suppose it's probably an open invitation to people to turn up there and come down with us. As for topics, I gave you about 15 the other week, so I'll just pick one. And I'm going to go with that one.
A Halo.
That one there.
All right, I'm pointing at your Halo, mate. Sorry.
All right, sorry. So I'm going to pose the question, motorbike related. Is the CBT enough?
Okay.
Make of that question what you will.
Okay, we will bring that one up. We certainly will tackle that one. Good question. Okay, thanks, Richard. Let's go across to Peds. Any news and topics, buddy?
No news. Topic-wise, it might not. It might be a bit controversial. It might not. Something that I've noticed that more and more motovloggers and other people are doing on YouTube that I don't agree with at all is when someone cuts them up or does something wrong, they decide it's a good idea to then paste that person's registration all over their YouTube video saying, look how bad this is, and just your opinion on it.
Okay, so naming and shaming bad driving.
Yeah, to an extent, more of a, it's not a problem naming and shaming, but you don't know if that person's on the way to sell that car, and you no longer own that car in a few hours' time after they've cut you up. So is it actually naming and shaming the car or the driver? Which one are you doing?
Yeah, okay. Good point, and we will bring it up as well. I'm always tempted to get straight into those type of questions, but I'll hold off until we get through the panel, and then we'll start bringing some of those topics up. So thanks, Peds. Let's go, Keith. Any news and topics, buddy?
He's froze.
Yeah, Keith.
Oh, Keith's got his microphone problem again.
Oh, Keith, pull yourself together, mate. You're like a pair of curtains.
Can you? Yeah, we saw that.
Oh, I think I got that bit.
Yeah. All right, well, whilst these reconnecting, let's go to Danny G. Any news and topics, buddy?
Well, news. I haven't really got any news. Been at home still, looking after my sick wife and son. Hopefully they will be feeling better so that I can come on Saturday. Topics. A little bit along the lines of Peg, really. How do you make people aware that they have cut you up, pissed you off whilst you're on a bike? Some people say don't go alongside them, don't tell them about it. I'm in the minds that if I don't get it out of my system, I tend to bottle it up and keep it going. Whereas if I shout in my helmet, it makes me feel better.
If you what in your helmet?
Shout.
All right, okay.
I heard that too. I heard that too.
Okay, good one, Danny. I've made a note, and let's go across now to Bobby. Any news and topics, buddy?
News, definitely. I don't know if some of you guys have seen the video and commented on it, but I just realized that after not paying attention to it for a while, I just hit over 200 subscribers, and it
All right.
shocked the living hell out of me.
Didn't do the world of good for me, Bobby.
Hey, I didn't think that many people wanted to listen to me ramble and babble about, nothing. So, I'm surprised about that, but I'm happy. I'm very, very happy. And as far as topics, I really didn't have anything all that special, but now that I've heard what Pedro had to say and Danny has seconded it, I'm totally down with that. How do you deal with people who screw up in traffic and drive like ass-tards? And is it okay to tell them about it, or do you just ride off and say, what a jerk?
Yeah. Okay. So there's a few for that then. So we'll definitely pick that one up. And thanks, Bobby. Let's go back to Keith and see if he's got any sound. Keith, news and topics.
News. I heard this week that unfortunately Britnidger 98 can't make the round the UK tour in March, which is a bit of a bloody shame.
What about Britain Ninja 88?
Is it 88? Is it? I don't know. I knew I had a number. I always get muddled when it comes to numbers and names. So I'm just waiting to hear from Lewis, see if he's still okay to do it. I hope he is, because it would be a shame having I've looked forward to this for a few months now. My topic, staying on the touring theme, I don't know what people think would be a sort of a comfortable distance to ride per day on a tour. Just kind of get everyone's thoughts on that, really. If you were to do a tour, what would be your sort of ideal distance per day that you're prepared to ride?
Until you can't anymore.
Until you can't. No, that but then that was spoiled the day after.
1,000 miles.
1,000 miles? Oh my God.
Do for the other 23 hours. Okay, great. Okay, so yeah, some good topics and some good news. I've got news. What have I got for news? I mentioned it before, but I don't know how clear it was. But basically, I've got some new panels for my Hayabusa. So it will be repaired and looking as good as it always used to. So that's my news. And also, I dropped the hump. I got a proper hump, the right colour, and then dropped it and smashed it.
Oh no!
Fucking hell, Harry. Thanks for that, Bobby. So there we go. What a numpty. There we go. But as for topics, I've been on a bit of a drive today for some work, and I just noticed that, I know I've noticed this before, but it's getting worse and worse now. The state of our roads, and I don't know about in other countries, but it just seems to be getting worse and worse. So, what do you think the state of the roads? I mean, even the motorways now have got potholes all over the place, and they're not coned off or anything. And you're driving along or riding along, and all of a sudden, out of the blue, you've got these potholes on the motorway, which is the last thing you expect to find on a motorway. There you go. That's mine. Potholes and general road conditions and deterioration. Okay. Right. So with that said, we'll go back to Q&A, and then we will tackle one of the subjects. Okay. Right. Let's go back to Q&A. So Headcat Harley, how you doing, buddy? He says, Skeggy, he's a seaside sensation. And Skeggy got something.
I'm saying I must be, being as he put it on the envelope from the sticker.
Excellent. So there you go.
He also brought it to Windy Bottom.
Oh yeah, that's always a good place to go to, isn't it? Windy Bottom. Okay, we've got a hi from Benny Boy Biker. Hi, Benny.
Hi, Benny.
Hi, Benny boy.
Good evening, boys and girls. And oh look, we just lost Danny. I'm sure he'll pop back in a minute. And also Gazatron. Hi, Gazatron. He says, "All right, lads. Sorry, Kev, and I can't join you tonight, but I have an appointment with the missus to go through her project plan for our wedding. Hopefully, see most of you at the Ace Cafe, Peterborough, this weekend."
What is that? Is that Gaz and Kev's wedding?
He's kept that bloody quiet, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know.
I won't say it, but
Yeah. Whatever float your boat, I suppose.
yeah. Whichever way you blow, you know.
Yeah, he does.
Too much information there.
Just a tad.
Right. Whilst we're on the Q&A, let's take that last one as well from Big Kev, and he's got a question for us. And he says, question for the panel, what track in the world would you like to ride on your bike?
Wow. Well.
There's a lot of
Laguna
tracks.
Seca.
So let's go from my left to right for this one. Beast Rider, where would you like to take your...
Well, I don't know if it's considered a track, but I definitely would love to ride Isle of Man. Just
Street racing, yeah.
I would love it.
Yeah. Okay, Isle of Man. Danny G.
I'd go Laguna Seca.
Look,
The drop off on the S-bend.
Okay, Keith.
Again, it's not really a track, but I'd like to go to Monaco at some point and ride around where the Formula 1 cars go around. That'd be awesome.
Nice.
Yeah. I think anyone that's an avid gamer will know that track without even looking at it. Yeah, it's a great track. There's some really sharp bends on that as well.
Yeah.
Okay, especially just before the start-finish straight. There we go. Right. Pedro, track for you.
Yeah, just like Danny, Laguna Seca or the Stalios Pass.
Ooh.
Not really a track, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay, nice one. Richard?
You took all the ones I was going to do. So I'm going to say. So I was going to say Laguna Seca, and then you've taken Monaco as well and the Isle of Man. So I'll say Imola.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Quick.
Okay. Skeggy?
Spa.
Where?
Yeah. Oh, Rouge.
Where was that, Skeggy, sorry?
Spa. I love Spa.
Oh, yeah.
Is that the shop? we've got a spa around our way. It's not very big.
I'd love to see the booster go through Eau Rouge.
Okay, Savgani.
Well, it's a hard question because I'm very heavily into bike racing. Right, Phillip Island, probably, because I watched it on Saturday and I just want to ride it. I've been to Le Mans for the MotoGP more times than at dinners. Not a very good track for watching, but the straight there, man, down through those stands is just mind blowing. And when you're going down there, you can imagine at 214 a mile an hour, must be something else. And have to pull it up to a bend at the end. I don't know how they do it, but they do. Here, so many. Do you know, I'd even like to have a go at Knockhill in Scotland. There's such a tiny little twisty track round mountains and whatever. I'd like to try Knockhill, and because I've got Snetterton just up the road, which has just been altered a couple of 3 years ago, the straight on that, man, is awesome, and the run-off at the end, and you see him missing that turn and going off that run-out is unbelievable.
Don't it always rain at Knockhill, though?
Yes, you always know you're going to get dumped on at Knockhill. Yeah, right. Yeah, that's true. So you always got to take a set of wet tyres with you, Skeggy, because you're going to need them.
Every time I see anyone going around there, it's been raining.
And I'd love to have a go what the boy said about Laguna Seca. I'd love to have a go at that drop. That must be something else.
Yeah.
Have you actually seen the corkscrew from any angle other than the TV angles?
Yeah.
Because it is. I mean, the TV angles flatten it, don't they?
Did you see the? Was it last year or the year before? One of the Lowe's brothers come off there. and went flying down that hill, and his bike went after him. That's unbelievable. Yeah.
I like the Stoner and Rossi going round there and barging each other off. Probably 3 or 4 years ago now, or maybe 5 years ago.
Didn't Marquez do Rossi there as well?
He did, yeah. He did to Rossi what Rossi did to
Stoner. Yeah. Yeah.
When didn't they go on to the actual off the track at one point?
Yeah. Oh, there's too many tracks out there, mate. Honestly, too many.
I mean, there's another one I would have said that I think is an awesome track, but actually it's just across the river, and I'm gonna go around it at some point. Is Cadwell?
No, you can't. I was going to say that, will you?
Which one is it now? Who's got the mountain? Because that looks awesome.
That's Cadwell.
That's Cadwell. Oh, I've got to do that.
That's
I've got to do the mountain. Yeah.
I'll meet you there, Andy.
Yeah. Got to do the mountain.
I've been round Cadwell Park in a V6 ambulance.
After doing the mountain, you might have to go around Cadwell Park.
Oh, that is awesome. Yeah.
So yeah, it'll be my turn. It's obviously Cadwell. Thanks, Richard.
No, we've done that when you carve that.
No, I want Cadwell because I want to tell him about the mountain. But basically, it's the only track I know that we can get properly airborne, and that's why I like it. Basically, there's an S-bend, and then it leads into a steep, what they call the mountain. And if you get the power on there, and obviously on the Bussy you can get all wheels off the ground. And then you go into the forest from there. But it's a brilliant track for that. It's quite a smallish track, but there's some long corners on it as well. It's nice straight away down the back when you come out of the forest. But yeah, so I've been on that one and I like it. I love the mountain. It's brilliant. It just has that element of excitement knowing that every time you go around you get to do a jump. As long as you make it through the tricky S-bend first. I see a lot of people come off onto the grass at Cadwell just before the hill. They end up going up the mountain on the grass rather than on the track. Is that a picture there, Richard?
Yeah, that's the mountain.
Yeah, look at that. That's what I'm talking about.
You don't actually get a choice, I don't think, about going airborne.
No. There's no way you can go up the mountain without losing the wheel off the ground at any point.
Pretty sure I got airborne in the ambulance, so you will.
I want to see that picture. So yeah, Cadwell, and I think I'd probably like to do Monaco as well, because it's just something that is quite infamous, isn't it?
I'll tell you what, Andy, we've forgot one of the best tracks in the world, and that's Assen.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Holland. Every single motorbike rider or racer will always say their favourite track is Assen. They all say it.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to do it then. We'll have to go. We'll have to do a track day out there. Yeah, Andy.
Assen. Yeah. Oh my God.
We can go there on the bikes.
Mm-hmm. You get a boat from here, just over there.
What's the one in France?
No.
The one I go to is Le Mans.
There's one in France, isn't there? Is it Paul Summit?
Paul Ricard.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a good circuit.
That's a nice one.
So yeah,
I know a lot of the lads around here have fell in love with Sletted. I think Dan Doolittle and that lot go up there quite a bit. He's just bought a bike for her, I think, and they're always up there. But the only thing that worries me about track days, and it's not that I'm too old or anything like that, and I'm scared of the speed because I'm not. I just really would cry my eyes out if I threw my bike down the road. You know what I mean? That's the only thing that holds me back on that. Really, it's a lot of money to throw down the road, and so many of them do on track days.
Yeah.
And don't wheel it outside the gates and go, I just came off just here.
That's right. Yeah. It's amazing how many accidents there are just outside a circuit, isn't it?
Look at that.
That's Cadwell Park again, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, because what you can see there is that S-bend where you can kind of see part of it. There's an S-bend that slows everyone down before they get to the mountain, and then you power up it, and there you go, look at that.
I think, Andy, one of the worst ones you can watch is, I think that's Tommy Hill, when he goes over the mountain and loses control and shatters his leg. That is one hell of an accident. That'll show you, if you get it wrong, how you're going to land up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's Tommy Hill.
Yeah, you have to think about obviously when you go around it. If you ever do it on a track day, get used to going up it. You know, go up it slowly first, and learn how to lean on the bike so that you don't end up, you know, doing anything really stupid. The best way is try to go over it flat, slightly leant forwards, and it'll keep the front wheel up in the air, so you land back on the back wheel without too much trouble. You don't want to be doing anything silly on it. But luckily the bus is quite heavy, so it kind of gyroscopes itself over that, not too much problem. The lighter bikes tend to get a bit more angry. So there we go. So yeah, brilliant. Great question, Kev. So thanks very much for that. So let's move on. So let me just see what we've got going on in Q&A before we go to one of our topics. So Reg RR says, "Hi guys, I've ridden Phillip Island a couple of times for the Cali Superbike course."
Good one.
Excellent, nice one. And hi Reg, thanks for tuning in. So I don't know where Bex is going with this, but let's see. She says, at junction to get out of where I live, it's so badly pitted and uneven. Oh, okay, she's on about the road surfaces. That you have to turn into the road. You have to go right over by the curb to dodge it all. Yeah, it's that bad. Okay. Should we use that as a link then for the one that I brought up? I don't want to use mine first, but seeing as Bex is on subject. And she also follows up by saying the council has a service online where you can report things like potholes, put a pinpoint on the map to give a description. Whether they'll do anything about it, that's another matter. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, and thanks, Bex. That leads us on to one of our topics, so we might as well stick with it. And it's the state of the roads, and not just about the UK. I'm guessing in other countries it's a similar situation, maybe. So let's go through the panel. I'll start with Suffolk Andy. Suffolk Andy, what do you think of the state of the roads? What's going on in the UK at the moment?
The trouble is, Andy, you can't, you know, I don't want to get political here at all. And I'm sorry to say, with the cutting of funding to councils and whatever from central government, there's no money to do it. And it's only going to get worse. So I'd say to all you lot and everybody else on the road, it ain't going to get any better, because it's not. Until we get this funding stuff sorted out and the cuts sorted out and whatever, ain't going to get no better. But I think personally it's bloody disgusting. And you know, the other day I was going down the road and I hit a pothole and I thought I took my spine out, you know what I mean? And if I'd had an injury or I'd been at work and I couldn't work, who's going to pay me? You know, I paid my money to be on the road, and if they can't afford to send the money to the councils to do it, then I hold central government responsible.
Yeah. I believe a lot of people are as well, Andy.
Mm.
You know,
and it's only going to get worse. That's the trouble.
Yeah. Okay, Andy, thanks. Let's go to Skaggy. Same situation for you over where you are, Skaggy? Roads?
Absolutely terrible. I was just trying to show you a picture of a pothole near the other day, and it was bloody. Somebody reported it basically after I'd been there, and I went to report it, and somebody had already beat me to it. And it's just a hellish pothole. I'm just trying to bring the bloody thing up, and it caught me by surprise because the car in front of me covered it, sort of thing, you know. And then all of a sudden you're like, whoa! But yeah, it's just where you don't want to be. The amount of gravel that's kicked up around it as well.
Fucking hell.
I don't know if can you see that?
Yeah, can you just zoom in?
Oh man.
Yeah.
And it's about 4 inches deep.
Jesus.
And trouble is, I thought, shit, I've got to take avoiding action, and then I noticed just how much gravel was around it. I was like, well, if I swerve, I'm off.
Yeah.
You know, so I literally just caught the edge of it, sort of rode round the ring of it. I mean, it's only about 18 inches long, but you know, it's more than enough for a bike tyre, isn't it?
That's a whole bike wheel in that.
Yeah, definitely.
Horrible. I'm so pleased I didn't hit it full on, like. I shit myself.
Yeah, and it could have been bad.
They're just as bad every
though, that on a rainy night is just an accident that's going to happen. It's a guarantee.
Yeah, that's terrible. So yeah, Skate, so obviously you've got a problem where you live as well. Richard, what's your experience in your roads where you live?
Well, I've got a couple. I mean, the other night was out on a ride. The other night, it was quite a while back actually. It was when I dropped Kevin at the White Horse, the Benny Boy Bikers minion. Coming back from there in the dark, and of course you can't see him. It was dark, it was foggy, and I'd dropped my front wheel into one, so I got a nice belt of testicles on tank as my front wheel went in it. Lisa was on the back, so when the back wheel went into it, I then got Lisa just really mashing the testicles, getting them right into the tank. So the choice of dog or child for me is gone. Then the other day, I mean, Danny will probably talk about this one as well. The other day, went for a ride out over to Squires, and then we headed off to, was it Barnsley? Barnsley? And there was a bit where Danny was ahead, and he came round a bend. I followed him. I was a little bit behind because we were coming off a junction, and I thought, right, I'll catch him up, and gave it some beans, and I just saw him going, slow down, and just as you got over this hill, there were potholes. And they weren't really like potholes so much as curbs. They were kind of 4 to 6 inches deep. They were the length of half a bike, and probably 2 feet wide in places. And then there was mud everywhere as well. I took a photo of it anyway to show you, so I just thought I'd share it. This was one of the smaller ones that we saw.
Oh, you're in it.
If you look just at the middle bit, I don't know if you can see my mouse, but there you go. Just there, if you look really carefully, there's like a little pink bit. That's my left testicle and part of my scroll.
Oh, dear.
Brilliant.
So it looks like
yes, they're not fixing them. I did see a news story a while back about a guy who got so fed up of potholes. He said they were dangerous, and he wanted people to see them so they could avoid them because some of them were hard to see. So he went out with a spray can of yellow paint, and he circled every pothole he came across. He said a week later they'd fixed them all. So I don't know if that's because somebody had then reported it, or because maybe they just go around with vans and look for the yellow circle bits. So my tip is, get yourself a can of yellow paint. Let's try it out.
Yeah.
Do we have to bill the council for the paint?
You know what? I'd pay for the paint myself if it meant that these potholes got filled.
Yeah. Just the ones on your regular routes.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Just to warn him, folks, though, don't do it when there's heavy traffic.
just lean off the bike and go past them, one on either side. You'll get a bit of a line there. You'll be all right.
But that one, Richard, you showed us, that's big enough to ride round.
That's one of the tracks I'd like to visit on my bike.
Yeah, I think you could do a wall of death in that. Oh, that's brilliant, Richard. Cheers. So obviously you're suffering the same issues that everyone else is so far. Let's go to Peds.
Potholes. Well, I live in London, as a lot of people know, and I actually commute through 6, 7 different boroughs from my house on one side of London to work the other side, and it is amazing that there are some boroughs that you can tell actually do bother spending money repairing the roads, and then others that haven't done since 1980. And you can really tell because you'll be driving along a road that's completely fine and is actually in pretty good nick, and then suddenly you're in a crater, and it's just literally at a set of traffic lights from one side to the other because that's where one borough stops and the other one starts. So it really does depend, but they are getting worse. I do remember riding a few years ago and the potholes weren't as bad, and it looks like everyone is spending money on other things and not bothering with roads as much anymore, which is sad, especially for us lot.
Yeah, I know in London especially, they suffer more from it than anywhere else. is oh blimey, I'll think of his name in a minute. Blah blah. He mentioned it in one of his videos last year, and they're spending more money on painting cyclist flipping areas and cyclist flipping patches on the road, and they're not filling in potholes. I mean, it's ridiculous.
And Andy, those cyclist lanes, obviously I don't know how much experience anyone else from the panel has had with them, but those things are meant to be grippier. They are not. They are an absolute hazard. I can't even remember how many times on a wet day that I've driven over them and the rear wheel just starts to spin. And it's not like I'm giving it beans or anything. It's just I'm riding along normally and you lose traction when you go over one of those cycle lanes. They are so terrible.
It's not even only the traction, but they're too narrow. Yeah. So they give drivers the impression that they can drive right up to the white line. Yeah. And when you're going down it on a bicycle, they're clipping the end of your bars nearly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so not good there either, depending on the borough.
Yeah.
Keith, what about you, mate? How's your roads?
Pretty bad. I think in some cases the state of the temporary reinstatement they put on these potholes is almost as bad as the pothole themselves. I mean, there's a road near me. There was about a 20 or 30 metre stretch, and when I went down it, I honestly thought my suspension had gone. It was like that. It was like we're going down one of those seaside slides. It was ridiculous. I thought I had to stop the bike. I thought, Christ, my bike's broken, and then I realised it wasn't the bike. It was the fucking state of the road. It was ridiculous. But you think this day and age they'd invent a road surface that was a bit more bloody hard wearing than what they're putting down currently, because clearly it's not to scratch, is it? I mean, no sooner have they repaired it that it's forming holes again. It's just ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah.
We've got one near us where they replaced a massive section of single carriageway with a big dual carriageway about a year ago, and they're redoing it already because it's going. So what they're making it out of, I don't know, chewing gum and spit or something. Maybe there's a gravel shortage or something. So that's because they just pour that over all the other roads.
I'll tell you what, Andy, I know you've driven in France, but northern France get just as bad weather as us and probably even worse. But you look at their roads to our roads, there's no comparison. Their roads are smooth, they're not bumpy, there's no bloody potholes. But if you look at the actual makeup of the road, it's a different tarmac. It's a smoother tarmac. It's got a different composition to it, and they don't have that problem. So why don't our engineers go over to a place like that and have a look and see how they're doing it, and then see if they could put that over here, because the weather is exactly the same, and they're not having the problem. So why are we having the problem?
But the thing is with France, whenever the French are unhappy about something, they all strike and the whole country shuts down. So they're probably scared to put down shitty tarmac because the entire fucking country will probably strike about it, protest. We're too bloody soft, we just kind of accept it as just the bloody norm and just get on with it, don't we?
I know I watched a vlog, must be 6 months ago now, from a French biker, and what they do, if they do come across a bad piece of road, they stop, get the can out and go a few 100 yards up the road and spray the road with a warning sign for bikers, and then get off and ride off. And then they go into the town, tell the mayor, and the mayor will make sure it's fixed.
Yeah. Different attitude, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to say I've done a lot of riding in France, and what always used to make me laugh is that yes, 90% at least of the roads are absolutely brilliant, perfect, an absolute pleasure to ride on. But then what you'll get some warning signs, and it says warning, dangerous road surface ahead, and then all of a sudden it feels like I'm riding in the UK. It's like pothole. It's like, oh my god, they've taken a piece of England and put it in France. It's crazy, but they call that dangerous, and they say it's like slow down to 30 or whatever. Warning, dangerous road surface, and that road surface is everyday road surface in the UK.
God, can you imagine if they did that in the UK? There'd be road signs bloody everywhere, wouldn't they?
It was just crazy.
But definitely, Andy, their tarmac is a different composition to ours. There's no doubt about it. It's nothing like ours at all. If you look at it close, it's completely different. And I think our engineers should go over there and have a look at that and if that's better than ours, they should bring it over here and start laying it here.
Yeah, and then just need. Well, the only trouble is, of course, they still need to actually put some money towards it. So
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
yeah.
Money. Yeah, money.
Well, it's much more important to make sure you got a little duck pond castle, isn't it, and all that sort of stuff, and a second home. Right. Anyway, let's not go there. All right.
No.
I think Danny's come back just in time. Danny, your experience now. I know you live quite close to Richard, but your roads, what's it like?
Well, at the minute, I'm travelling up to Harrogate, working at Harrogate a few days a week. So for me, using a bit more of the motorways and the way that they've done the M62 that goes onto the A1 and then the M1, as you're coming off the A1, you've got 3 lanes that then filter onto the M1, takes you up, and all I was doing was switching lanes from middle lane to the outside lane, so that was the first onto the M1, and just as you're crossing the lanes, you suddenly come to a pothole that's about 10 yards long, about 4 inches wide, 2 inches deep, as you're trying to cross the lane. And first time I went across it, because you're not expecting it to be there, you obviously got all the cat's eyes and everything on the lane. You start going across and then you realise what it actually is on the road. Not expecting it on the motorway as you go into the fast lane. And it made me think twice about doing it, and I just waited until I got a bit further along, but it's just getting horrendous to think that I was doing a good speed going down there. If my front tyre had gone into one of those, I'd have been off. There'd have been no question about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, local roads aren't any better. Rich will tell you about the roundabout going up towards the supermarket. There is
There's no pothole there anymore. There's no surface.
There's no pothole. It's literally. It's like somebody's taken those, the bumps they put as you come to a roundabout that make you shake your head as you're slowing down. There's one of those that's about, you could probably say that they're about 6 inches away from each other, the pothole lines, and there's just one stretch that if you hit it just right, you've got one line to get around that roundabout without being shook to death.
Well, that roundabout, when you tip into it, to go, if you're coming out of Beverley towards the supermarket, you're going kind of 30 degrees to the right kind of thing, so you're going just over halfway around the roundabout, and if you hit it right, you think, I'll take the inside line of the roundabout, and you've got no choice. By the time you're off the roundabout, you're on the left-hand side of the road. It just chucks you off. You just bounce outwards. It is bloody dangerous.
Yeah, and so let's go across the pond to New York. And Bobby, what's your roads like, Bobby?
New York is a pothole. From December to March, it is one gigantic pothole. Then they start filling them in, and then there's thousands of tiny little potholes. But yeah, that's all you get. As a matter of fact, this is pretty typical.
Shit, you kidding me?
Oh my god.
There are 2 giant bags of garbage, a large road cone, and a box that looks like it came from a television.
Has somebody actually seen the pothole and thought, yeah, that's a good place to put my rubbish?
Yeah.
Floyd it.
That's the council. They're like, well, they just put some rubbish bags in there, I'll fill it up. That'll be all right.
Yeah, so that is pretty typical, and I know that it has been said that some don't want to get political, and I respect that. I'm going to, because the government is shit, especially local, because they have the ability to take care of all this. They have the ability to fix this stuff, and they don't. They just refuse to. I got another shot here, and this is from 1 block away from me. Now, there is no excuse for this. Absolutely no excuse. That's 1 block away from my house.
What?
Yeah. And you can tell by the snow this is now.
Yeah. How long's it been like that?
That has been that way since December.
That's shocking.
So yeah, early December. No, not early December. Late December. So January into February. It's just that, and you expect people to feel comfortable on the road. You want people to not get into accidents. You make all these stupid laws to say we want to keep you safe. Well, yeah, if you want to keep us safe, give us a safe driving surface. Give us a road that we can depend on, so that we have some traction and we don't have to bottom out our suspension in the car or on the bike or in a truck or whatever. We don't have to swerve and potentially hit other vehicles or people crossing the road. Do something about it.
I must admit, Bobby, I've watched most all your vlogs, and the one thing that did actually focus in my mind was the state of the roads. And when you were riding along, and I'm thinking to myself, I thought our roads were bad, but they look a lot bloody worse than ours. And that really has stuck into my mind. I think they look terrible, some of them roads you're on.
Yeah. They are pretty bad.
Yeah, and it just leaves for me to comment on it now, I suppose, and that's one of the places that I didn't ever expect to find really bad roads was on the motorway, because obviously high-speed traffic and potholes don't mix. But yeah, M62 today, potholes in the fast lane, and quite often clustered together. And I'm like, seriously, what's going on? It wasn't like that, 2 years ago. It wasn't that bad, but it's just got ridiculous now. And the other thing that I was going to mention was that now that we've got this blame culture, the adverts where if there's a blame, there's a claim, and all that. Obviously, people are actually damaging their vehicles now and their bikes from these potholes, and they're successfully claiming against the council for damages. And I'm just wondering how much these bad roads are actually costing. What are we at the tipping point where there are more claims against councils than the money it would take to actually fix the roads? It's crazy.
Oh yeah.
But there we go. So yeah, potholes bad everywhere by the sounds of it. And if anyone's watching this and they've got good roads, I'm guessing you probably live in France.
Or Germany.
Yeah, or Germany. Yeah. So there we go. Yeah, our roads are shocking, and no one's doing anything about it. It's crazy. So yeah, there we go. And if I ever get damaged, if my bike ever gets damaged or if I come off, obviously I'll be flipping claiming. I'll tell you.
I've successfully claimed for car shocks before with Newham Council. It only took about a month and a half actually as well. But that was for speed bumps. So.
Yeah, that's the other thing, isn't it? I've seen cars lose their flipping sump going over those speed bumps, especially the square ones. The square ones you get that you can try and straddle.
Yeah.
Yeah, do that in some low-slung R8 or something like that, and then say goodbye to your sump. Well, not in an R8 because the engine's in the rear, but a similar type of car, quite easily rip the sump off. And you always think when you see those square humps in the road and you see those scratch marks gouged into it, you think, oh, that hurt, didn't it? Wow. Yeah. Crazy. Right, okay, good one, nice. Thank you, very good. So let's go to Q&A, and then we'll go to next one of our topics. So here we go. Gazatron says, cheeky gets. I only just met Kevin. So there we go. Stealth confirms.
I think he's referring to Kevin the Minion.
Kevin the Minion?
Yeah, I think that's who's, yeah.
Right.
Not Kev.
Kind of went over my head, but...
That's because you don't watch videos.
No, I've not. I'm almost at the point. As soon as his house is straight, I'll be back on form. Trust me. So Stealth says yes, it's a war zone in New York, and that's back to potholes, obviously. Hi, Stealth, by the way. What else we got going on here? So XT Donkey, he says this hangout is great. I can actually ask a question without Chaz picking on me. Chaz doesn't really pick on anyone, does he? Really? Anyway, so that's brilliant. Tosh, our favourite thespian, he says, boys, you're all looking sexy today.
Fucking thespian.
I just made that up on the spot. I thought it was quite
brilliant. That. Brilliant.
Okay, and then XD Donkey comes back. Says the only good roads in Northern Ireland are the road racing courses like the Cooktown 100 and the Northwest 200. Everywhere else gets the odd patch, that bloody temp gravel road surface. You know, I know what you mean. But that's the better. But that's the better to get the back wheel out. Okay, yeah. So yeah, if you're on the gravel, yeah, you can get the back wheel out. And obviously, if someone's been annoying, you can spray them with gravel, especially if they're in a car. Not that I would do anything like that, of course. Right. Okay. Right. So let's go to our next topic, and I'm going to choose. Actually, it's quite a common one, so we'll do that one next, and then we hopefully, if we've got time, we'll approach the CBT one from Calm. But yeah, idiot drivers. And what do you do? How do you make them aware that they've upset you in any way, shape, or form? Should you name and shame them? So let's go to the person that started it all off, and that's Pet.
Yeah. Once again, being in London, I think that's an occurrence every minute that I'm riding to work or riding anywhere, really, to be honest with you. And I mean, the way that I've just found dealing with it is that you can't leave it bottled in, because then all that does is just affect your riding. And the last thing you want to do is someone else to affect what you're doing on the road, because you're the one that's on two wheels that's more than likely to come off a lot worse than they are. But at the same time, that is balancing going from airing your frustration to it becoming road rage. Because at the end of the day, if it becomes road rage, aren't you just as bad as the person that's cut you up anyway? I mean, I don't mind like shouting out and saying what you're doing, but I just think the whole registration plates on YouTube, that doesn't really fly with me, although I do quite often just kindly remind people that I am a lot more vulnerable than they are in their Chelsea tractors, and if they would like to cut me up, then can they be prepared to be accountable for their actions? But yeah, let it out, but constructively, if that makes sense.
Okay. So let's go. Let's go to Calm Biker next. Calm. Someone upsets you. How do you let them know, and what would you do about it?
In most cases, I probably just wouldn't. You know, very, very occasionally, somebody does something really, really stupid that is too close, and puts my life at risk or puts Mrs. C's life at risk, something like that. Then they might get a gesticulation. Generally speaking, though, I worry about I don't worry about it, but I don't agree necessarily with the registration plates on YouTube. I think that's there forever. What I saw one a while back. I can't remember what it was, but it was saying, "Oh, if you see this registration plate, give them grief." Well, what if I've just bought that car and it wasn't mine at the time? Why am I getting grief for owning a car that happens to have a number plate on that caused a problem in the past?
You could be owning a bike.
Sorry?
Because it should be a bike.
It should be a bike. Well, you have to have a car as well, don't you? I've got to get to the supermarket and back. But yeah, generally I try not to get angry at people, because it doesn't make anything any better, does it? You get angry, you probably drive or ride badly, you probably take more risks than you should because you're in an angry mood. If my mood is affected that much, I think it's better, and obviously in the heat of the moment sometimes it doesn't happen, but it's better to pull over, take 5 minutes out and compose yourself before you carry on. Because if it comes to it and you get road rage and you start doing silly things like brake checking cars or accelerating at cars, which you see a lot of on YouTube, if you misjudge that, the car's going to get a dent, but you're going to get potentially killed. So, it's generally if you can rein it in, generally better, I think, to leave well alone. And you don't know if they're a psychopath in that car. A lot of them bloody are, aren't they?
Or if the car's stolen.
Yeah, true. Or if you're over Bobby's side, if they've got a gun in the car.
Yeah.
Wasn't there an incident I don't know, about 10 years ago on the M25 where a young lad got into an altercation with another driver, and they both got out of the car, and the bloke was a known gangster and just stabbed him to death? I think that happened on the M25 about 10, 15 years ago. So
there's one a few years back, probably, I mean, my judgment of time is off, but
that's
probably 10, 15 years back in Leeds, where, and it wasn't quite road rage, but somebody was crossing the road at a zebra crossing and didn't thank a driver that had stopped for him, and they ended up in a fight, and one of them was stabbed to death. There are some nutters out there.
Yeah. Oh, Keith's gone on mute. So let's go to Danny. Danny, what do you think?
I do. And quite angry quite a lot. Old finger shake of shame. So most drivers get more annoyed at that than they do at you shouting at them, and if you're blinding at them, just shake the head, make them aware that they've just been an idiot, shake the finger at them, say no. They get so annoyed at that for some reason, rather than you going hell for leather at them. Yeah, there's that one as well.
Just waving.
But yeah, I mean, about a couple of weeks ago, just on the way to work, wasn't riding fast, doing the speed limit for a change, and there was a car that cut me up twice because they were trying to weave in and out of traffic. But the second time, they got that close that I had to slam on the brakes because they nearly took the front of the bike off. And for that person, I did ride alongside them, shouting at them. They stuck the finger up at me, so I folded their mirrors over and told them that I'd done it because they don't use the mirrors anyway. I was so angry, and I was going to punch the wing mirror because I was so angry. I decided to just fold it instead. I figured I wouldn't do any damage folding it.
Yeah.
But yeah, you just don't realise, well, they don't realise how quickly their actions can do so much damage, and to do it twice within the space of about a minute after booming your horn at them the first time, for me was just pushing me over the edge. So the finger shake didn't work that time.
Yeah. Okay. Excellent. Where should we go next? Giggy.
Well, I tend to find that ripping the rear window wiper off and then knocking on the window and handing it to them gives me more pleasure. It tends to give me more pleasure than it does solve the situation. So, I mean, it depends how bad it is. A lot of the time I'll just sort of pull up alongside them and point to the camera. It's amazing how they calm down when they see that. And if I've done that, then instead of shooting off in front, I'll let them go and ride behind them. It's a safe distance, you know. And their driving suddenly change when they know that they're on camera. You know. But then, you know, I mean, there's other times, like Danny says, when you just get so frustrated. I'll admit I have punched the mirror off before, but maybe folding it would have been a better idea. I don't know, I've calmed down a bit nowadays. Yeah, I mean, the stress of the whole situation, what annoys me is they don't realise how vulnerable we are. Comes back to the old thing of sort of thinking that sometimes they should be made to have a couple of weeks on a bike to make them more aware as car drivers, you know. But you know, one thing I definitely don't agree with is this posting registration plates up on and saying, "Look at this dick." And I mean, sometimes okay, it's like, "Look at this idiot, cut me up." Fine, blare out the registration plate. You know. But certainly don't put a message up going, you know, if you see this registration, give the guy grief as a dickhead or something like that. That's not going to solve anything. Like Richard says, you know, you might have just bought that car.
I mean, to be fair, I don't blare out the number plate because that's too much hassle.
Yeah, yeah.
But I wouldn't. I mean, a lot of people are putting the number plate up, actually in the description.
Yeah.
Or even the title. One thing just to note on Skeggy's part about pointing at the camera, one of the things that I've just recently purchased, one of those Chinese like M500 things for a rear-facing camera.
Is that a gun?
No, those little bullet cameras from China.
Alright, okay.
For like 10 quid off eBay. But since I've had that on the back of the Bandit, actually, because it's got a red light and people can see that when they're driving behind you, I've noticed that so many people are now backing away and going further away rather than driving right up your arse, which is quite interesting.
Yeah. Indeed. Okay, good. So Andy.
I'm like everybody else, really. I don't actually watch random videos, you know, when people put up this stuff. I think when I first started, I put one up because I wanted to know if I was what people thought, and that's the only one I've ever put up, and that was over a year ago. If I record these stuff, I don't put them in me vlogs unless it's part of the vlog, you know, I'm doing it and that's happening. I don't ever put them in anyway. And I think most of us bikers realise that it's part of the jungle out there of being a biker. You have to put up with these people who clearly can't drive a car, and you have to put up with it. As for if they do it in front of me or do something to me, the other day I was out and I was out in the countryside, 40 mile an hour limit. I was doing 40, doing a vlog. I haven't put it up yet, and this bloke just comes up and sits in the back of my bike basically because he wanted to go faster. And I watched him for about a couple of 3 miles, and I just indicated early and pulled into another road because I just didn't want to get into an argument, you know. I do wag my finger. I will have a shout inside the helmet. At the end of the day, after all these years of riding, I've accepted that most car drivers haven't got a frigging clue, and that's it, really.
Yeah.
And as for putting registrations up, I'd never do that. You know, if you go back to when Aaron had his accident, I know the guy's name who knocked my son off and nearly killed him. I know exactly the house where he lives. I know exactly what car he was driving. And if I was vindictive, I could put all that up there and say, oh, why don't everybody go around and kick his fucking butt? But I wouldn't, you know, and I wouldn't do a car registration either. I don't agree with it. Yeah. Show the incident, but you don't have to, you know, show the registration. Not really.
Okay, good. Thanks, Andy. Let's go to Bobby. What do you think?
Well, I try my best to be as good a person as humanly possible. However, I have had my ass-tarred moments. There was a time that I used to keep, you know, really small steel ball bearings in my vest pocket, and when people would do retarded stuff, nothing minor. If it was something seriously major, something that really could have made sure that I did not get home to my kids if I wasn't paying attention, yeah, I'd get up in front of them and let a couple of them fly. I don't do that anymore.
That's it.
I definitely don't do that anymore. But you know, as far as putting the plates out there and all, I guess things are a little bit different here. I don't know how they work over there. But, you know, if someone's going to sell the car, the plates are going to get changed. So if they're selling the car, then they really don't have anything to worry too much about. But if they are a serious road tard and their license plate ends up on a video and somebody sees them doing something stupid, hopefully the authorities, then maybe something will come of it. I am not going to engage someone on the road unless there was absolutely no choice, because I do want to get home to my family, you know, and I don't want anybody calling them saying there's a reason why I'm not coming home. So yeah, I don't know. As far as putting it out there, I don't really think of it as naming and shaming. I think of it more as you shouldn't have done this stupid thing. Now you're on camera. Hopefully it'll get caught out there, and maybe you might think twice about being stupid on the road again. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah. Yeah, good. Have I missed anyone out? Keith's still on mute. So I'll put a little comment out there as well. As you know, my catchphrase is "ride invisible," so I rarely get into any of those situations. I normally avoid them, but it still happens. And there was one of my videos ended with a BMW that was sat in a lay-by, and I didn't trust him one bit, and slowed down, and he pulled out, and then he stopped again, and I could see him looking at me, and I thought, I still don't trust you, and of course German car and all the rest of it, and then just as I was getting close to him, he pulled right out in front of me, and then slammed on again, leaving himself directly in front of me, but I was already prepared, I'd already stopped. And all I did was to, and I think you can see it in the video, I kind of went, I do that, so like, look what you're doing, what an idiot, shake my head. I think I probably did one of those as well, and maybe a bit of that, and then carry on my way, and that way it helps me get over that aggression thing, and I know what people are talking about. When I was younger, I reacted a lot differently. I have claimed a few wing mirrors in my past, but you know, I'm older, wiser, and I've got responsibilities now with kids and that, and there is a fine line, I think. In terms of the number plate stuff, yeah, I agree. I don't think you should put number plates up there. All I will try and do, and there was one person that went, that was another video caught on video. Whenever I get any events like that, I do actually I'll publish it at some point. But it happens quite rarely for me. But there was one person that was driving the car, and they drove directly through a red light after stopping, and just drove through a red light. I was like, what's going on here? Driving like a complete idiot. But what I did was I did my best to get a close-up of their face, and then I freeze-framed the face. So if anyone sees that face driving a car, they know that they might want to give it a wide berth. But number plates don't really work for me, because like, it could be someone borrowing the car. It could be stolen, and that's why you're driving like an idiot, quite possibly. So yeah, I don't agree with the number plate thing. I think that's just daft. And really, what you want to be doing is concentrating on the driver themselves and try and get a picture of their face. And I think that's fine. Me personally, someone might not agree with that, but I think, you know, that's the idiot that's causing me harm, or could cause me harm, or cause harm to other people. Driving like an idiot, that's the person there at the steering wheel, that's their face, that's what a dickhead looks like, basically, is what I do. Not so worried about a number plate, because that means nothing. So yeah, but it does pay. It's difficult when you're younger. I've been there, you know, I sound like I hate when I say when I was young, but yeah, when I was young, I used to get really angry and stuff. But I found now, when you're on a bike and you're in control of a bike, you want to try and keep yourself safe. Riding angry is not a good place to be, especially if you're on a very powerful bike, because you know, you can twist that throttle in anger and put yourself in a whole world of hurt in a situation you don't want to be in, because you're just not thinking for that moment. And it's far better to try and find a way to quickly release that anger. And like I say, I you know, point at my flipping visor, look what you're doing, mate, you idiot wanker, and I'm off. And that's it. That's the end of it. And I'm happy with that. But I can understand why people get angry. But if you can try and tone it down, concentrate on yourself, try and get your camera and capture them, and know in your head that you've got that footage that you can go and review when you get home safely. It's probably better than getting off your bike and trying to smash windows and stuff. So that would be what I would say to it. But number plate thing, nah, pointless. Get the
I'll tell you what, Andy. I'm going to ask Skeggy a question here because I'm the oldest bloke on this panel, and I know, with no disrespect, Skeggy, you're the second. Do you think that when you first start riding a bike, your attitude to this sort of thing has changed as you got older? Have you found that you're more controlled with it now than you was when you was young?
Oh, a lot more. But I think the difference is as well is that we didn't have the amount of traffic back then. So to start off with, quite honest, when I started biking to start with, I never ever had a problem with traffic.
Yeah.
And then I moved from sort of a town that was big enough to be a city to here in '84, and this place is tiny, but it grows tenfold in the summer. But unfortunately, the majority of those sort of come on holiday and leave the brains at home. But I'm so much more sort of respectful of other drivers and how much things cost. And yeah, I mean, somebody caught my wing mirror on my car once, and it cost me bloody 120 quid to get it replaced. And so I'm a lot more respectful of how much things cost, and it's sort of horses for courses. If all they've done is cut you up, and you got away with it, it was a bit close. Nowadays, I'm more likely to, like I say, point at the camera or tap on the window and have a word with them. Whereas one time a day, I'd have probably punched the window through and tried to drag them through it.
Yeah.
When I was younger, I did have an attitude problem. I did have an anger management problem, sort of thing. Yeah. Nowadays, I'd like to think I'm mostly keep it bottled up.
Yeah.
Take it out on the missus instead.
Yeah. Right. So yeah, that was a good subject. And try and be a calm rider. It is the best course of action there. Knowing in your head that you've got the footage that you can use later, and don't worry about number plates. Try and get the driver. That's the person that's causing the trouble, not the car. Is what I would summarise from that. But yeah, especially if you're on a powerful bike, don't get angry. Don't ride angry. It's not a good place to be. You'll make mistakes. You will.
And I think as well, Andy, if you're on a powerful motorbike, don't get dragged into the scenario where you're actually racing against the person as well. So you can get drawn in very quickly to a situation from a bad bit of driving that lands up into some sort of race, or you're trying to get in front of them, they're trying to get in front of you. It's best just to back off and let them go, because at the end of the day, if there is an accident, you're going to be the one in the coffin. They're going to be all right in the car. It's just not worth it.
It's that point of being able to say, okay, it's all right, I'll let you go because I know I'm quicker than you.
Yeah.
I mean, 125s can beat bloody cars off the line initially,
It's just about being the bigger person, isn't it?
That's it.
Exactly. Unless you ride a higher bus or a course, and then you know you're going to be faster than them, you've just gone. But yeah, no, I agree. And the other thing is, of course, one other thing to consider, just as a hindsight thought, and you mentioned there 125 Skeggy, don't be going all road rage and everything else if you haven't got a bike that's quick enough to get you out of trouble. Start the car and hammer or something. You want a fast bike for that. You don't want to be on a 125 in those situations. So yeah, calm it down.
Don't pick any fights with Ferraris.
Yeah, even Ferraris. Oh, you don't want to push a Ferrari's like nothing. But anyway, yeah. So yeah, think about it. Try and be calm. Use that footage later and get satisfaction out of publishing some mug's face and saying, "No, that's the idiot," Okay, right, we've got those going in Q&A. Looks like Tosh seems to be on overtime at the moment. I think he's getting paid per post. But let's just go through these quickly. Right, so Stealth says, hi Stealth. He says, I will join if I get a link. Yeah, I think we can sort you out a link, mate, but let's try and keep this one positive this week. You got a shout out last week, but if you do join, yeah, try and keep it happy and on topic, that'd be good. So excellent. Big Kev says, I must go. Thanks, guys. Ride safe. Ride it.
Kev.
See you, Kev. Nice one, mate. Take it easy. Have a good day at work. Tosh, oh god, here we go. Tosh, it says, Andy B, gives a beer, buddy. Yeah, mate, come and get one. You got a Blackbird, it'll only take you an hour. So, let's just go back to Stealth. I'm doing these in order, I know I shouldn't because it always ends up in trouble. Stealth says, Andy, send me a hangout link to my YouTube message, thanks. The other link isn't working for me from Bobby. Okay, so Bobby, just try and send him another message for the hangout. He should get it. It should work. I'll just try and carry on crack on for the Q&A. Oh, look at this, Grey Viper. I'll say hello to Grey Viper. I've not heard from him for a long time. Nice to see you online, buddy. Thanks for tuning in. And he says, "Hi guys, how you doing?
How you doing, huh?
How you doing?
Doing all right. He's coming to Skegness.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, on purpose. Yes, on purpose.
Not by accident.
The place that time forgot.
Yeah. Okay, right, I do want to take Richard's question as well, so I'm going to try and quickly get through these Q&As, or sorry, Richard's topic. That's Blue Ninja Rider. He says, hello all, some motovloggers wouldn't have a channel if they didn't rant and rave all the time at other drivers. Well, yeah, there are channels out there that make a living go on about basically going, oh, that was a close call, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, they have a particular audience, I think. But yeah, it's true. Some people try and make a living out of those. Okay. Oh, Tosh, sort it out.
Get a room.
So, Danny, you've got a new boyfriend, Stalker. I should make sure the front door's locked, mate, because Tosh says you're a little sexy git.
I don't know what to get up to do in Yorkshire, but...
and he also follows up by saying, Danny, I forgot what you look like, LOL. Well, next time, Tosh, don't have so much drink. Right. Okay, it looks like Stealth's joined. Hi, Stealth.
Hey, Andy. I wanted to answer that question, too, about the road rage thing.
Yeah.
And it definitely will get you in trouble, because I've been there myself. I had a car pass me, and they always pass you for no reason, and always where there's a stoplight ahead. So after they pass you, they have to slow down and stop like 2 seconds later for a stoplight. And you know, that kind of pisses me off every time that happens. And I'm in first gear, and I rev it while letting off the clutch, and all I do is get a fishtail each way. And I was going, whoa, that probably wasn't a good idea right there. So, yeah, getting angry does not do anything but put you in danger.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially if you're on a powerful bike. You know, if you're on a 125, you probably overcome any sort of power that you might feel from the back end. But when you've got 150 brake horsepower plus at the twist of a throttle, then, you know, you get a world of hurt really quick.
I fishtailed left, and then I fishtailed left, right, and then I let it sort itself out, and I was like, yeah, that was a mistake.
Yeah, especially at lights, because that's where all the trucks drop diesel and stuff, so you're bound to get a wheel spin. So yeah, good points. Okay, so we've got time to squeeze in Calm Biker's topic subject, and his is a kind of UK-related one, but it's about passing a test. I know the laws in the US are a lot more different, and I think I can quite easily say more relaxed in terms of biking. But in the UK, it's got really crazy in terms of tests and age limits and all sorts. But in particular, Calm Biker asks, is the CBT enough? And the CBT, for those that don't know, is a test that you need to take to enable you to continue riding on the road on a motorbike, basically, up to a 125 in the UK. So, Calm, I'll go to you because it's your question. You can flesh out what I've just said and go for it from there, really, mate.
Well, it was my question. 'Cause obviously, I wanted to get everybody else's views on it. I know when I did mine, at the end of it, I thought, this is stupid. I've come down to this place. I've had half an hour in a classroom where they've said, do you know what this sign means? And obviously I've been driving for 20 odd years, so I knew what all the signs meant. I've mentioned it to people before on here, but there was a 17-year-old girl who was on the CBT with us, didn't know a single sign, didn't know a single road marking, didn't know a single highway code question. They even tried to dumb it down to the point of, do you know what a triangular sign means? No. She turned 17 that day. It was her birthday, and her father had bought her a 125 twist and go scooter, and she wanted to do a CBT, and she was going to get on it that night. Now, at the end of the CBT, it was the first time I'd ever ridden a bike. It's the first time she'd ever ridden a bike. I got through it without dropping mine. She actually dropped hers about 4 times. And we all walked away with a certificate. And she was really excited. Right, I'm going home now. I'm going to get on my bike. She couldn't ride. She literally could not ride, but she still walked away with a certificate that meant she was allowed to go on the road.
Mm-hmm.
I went away with a feeling that I don't know enough and I would not be safe on a bike on the roads. And I've been driving for nearly 25 years.
Yeah. What happened to the times when your parents used to teach you the roadcraft and sort of tell you about what signs you needed to know and go quickly through it with you so that you knew what was what? And then you know, I don't know. In my case, my father taught me how to learn how to ride a bike. My first, get a geared bike at 6 years old, and it's not hard. I mean, it's personal, I know, but these twist and go things, they're just not worth the hassle. But I mean, in my mind, I don't believe that it's necessary to actually take a CBT as such. I think what is more important than a CBT is the theory test.
But you don't have to do that at all, do you?
Not at all. As a CBT, you go there and you don't have to do the theory test, like you said. You don't even have to answer the questions. But if they just taught you a theory test, and it's sort of tested you on that, and said you can't take your CBT unless you pass your theory test, that'd suffice as far as I'm concerned. But certainly, if somebody's dropped the bike 3 or 4 times, they can't ride. Don't give them that certificate at the end.
I suppose I'd like to extend the question a bit as well before it goes out to everybody. Obviously, that was my experience of the only CBT I ever did. Because a week later, I was back for lessons, and then obviously went and did the direct access. But kind of extend it a bit of is it enough for you to do a CBT when you've never ridden before, and then that night get on a bike and you're on your own for 2 years with no further training? But to extend the question, is it acceptable that people who've never done a theory test, have never taken a lesson, and have never done a test, are allowed to just do the CBT every 2 years, potentially for the rest of their life? I pass the question to the floor.
Well, I've got shed loads of opinions on it, but I'm going to leave myself to later and let the panel answer first.
I don't personally think that the CVT test, what you're talking about, is adequate at all. It was different, and I know Skeggy will back me up on this. When we first started riding, they weren't nothing like that. You could go up onto a 250 motorcycle, and you'd never rid it in your life, and drive on the road. That was what it was like. But I think them days with the traffic and that are over. But I know with my 2 boys, or 3 boys, have all done it, and they've all come back and said, oh, there's been a couple of people who didn't get through it, and they've got to go back tomorrow to finish it off. Well, if you can't get through a CT test, whatever you call it, in a day, there's something wrong with you. And I don't think that you should be able to keep doing it every 2 years. I think you could do it and have it for 2 years, but after 2 years, no more. You either go on to future training through a bigger bike, or you forget it. And also, I think the test is a money maker. It's a government money maker, all out with no actual thought of the safety of the person on the bikes or other people on the road. It's just a revenue maker. I know there's a lot of people make a bit of money out of it because they've got to run it. I don't know how much of that 90 quid, and I've got no idea, I reckon Andy will be able to tell me more on this, but I don't know how much of that 90 quid actually goes to the government and how much goes to the trainer. So I think if you want to ride a bike and they are serious about letting you ride a bike up to a 125, I think you should have a 3 or 4 day course with all different, perceptions and all over the place to get you ready to face that onslaught on the road. That's not good enough at the moment.
Yeah. I mean, I'll add quickly that obviously Mrs. B's going through it at the moment, and she's just been paid, so she's got money for a direct access now. But when it came to her CBT, she passed her test without knowing how to use the clutch properly. That's a fact. And it was only when I took her training on how to use a clutch. There's a video on it. She was like, "Oh my God, going around corners is so much easier. It slows speed when you use the clutch." It was like, didn't they teach you that in CBT? It's like, no. But anyway, there's reasons for that. But I'll come back to that. I'll let.
Am I right in thinking that you can do your CBT on a bike without gears and then go and ride a bike with gears?
Yeah.
That's what we need Mrs. B for, because
Yes, you can. Yeah.
I thought you could.
Yeah.
So you can ride a twist and go, pass your test, and then.
A lot of people on the CBT, if they're struggling with the gears, they will actually say, "I tell you what, put your CBT on this twist and go, and then, what you do in your own time when you go home is up to you."
So when I did mine, not that I chose to do it. Oh, anyway, other reasons. When I went to do a CBT, the actual riding school said, well, we'll do it on 50cc automatics because it would just be a lot easier for you to pass. That was the selling tactic.
Wow. So you were 16?
Wow.
Was you 16 when you took the CBT?
Well, I've had a bike license back home in Portugal since I was 16, but that's completely different. I took my CBT here 4 years ago now, just so that I could keep my license in Portugal and not have to convert it for insurance purposes when I ride my bikes out there. So I did a CBT and then my direct access afterwards for that reason, but I just thought it was shocking. And had been, because I've been riding bikes for nearly 10 years, it was just ridiculous when someone sits there and you're taking a test, someone to tell you, "Oh, we'll make this test really easy for you," opposed to actually, let's teach you how to ride a bike properly. It's just absolutely ridiculous.
Did they know that you took a test? Did they know that you rode a bigger geared bike?
No. They thought I had come off the streets and had no experience. They didn't ask me at any point what your biking experience was. Actually, to be fair to them, they did ask me if I knew any theory behind being on the road, and they knew that I had a full car license, but they didn't know if I'd ever ridden a bike myself.
I can't believe that they stuck you on a 50cc twist and go. Those things have got no guts at all.
Yeah, no, that's if in most places in London that I've heard of, and I know people have taken CBTs, that's the norm. It's a 50cc twist and go, about 2.5 to 3 hours off road, and then about half an hour on road.
Wow.
But you can fail it, and my wife will probably punch me in a second for saying this, and she went on the same course and did. But you can fail it.
Oh yeah. Well, generally, you're going to be really bad to fail it, or you don't finish it. My son-in-law walked away from this purely and simply because the guy teaching him was a dick. I continuously belittled him all the time, told him he couldn't do this, and then he was, instead of explaining what he was doing wrong, he was screaming and shouting at him like he was a terrible teacher. But yeah, it's training, isn't it? You know, so theoretically you shouldn't be able to fail it. But if there was no fail, then I think it would be totally wrong. I think you've got to be able to sort of say, sorry, you're not good enough. You know, you're gonna have to come back and do it again or something.
Yeah.
I think. Sorry, mate. I think as well. If you think about it, they've got this reversed a little bit, and they're not going to let you get into a car and take a day's course and off you go on old plates, are they? So why are they letting put? And you know, when you come to the bike test further up the line, it's impossible. You've got to go through so much more than a car driver. So why don't they toughen up the first sort of training and then make the progression up onto a bigger bike a little bit more easier?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
My CBT was very thorough. I mean, we spent the morning doing gear changing, and we did that to death basically, and then did lots of theory thereafter about road positioning, roundabouts, road signs, etc. In fact, there was one guy on the morning session, they wouldn't even allow him on the road in the afternoon because they said he was just too dangerous, and they advised him to come back again and maybe just do his get used to being on a bike before he even considered doing his CBT. So the training school that I was, they were very thorough. In fact, after I did my CBT, I think I did what's called a CBT Plus, which was slightly a little bit more training, but still at beginner level. And obviously I went on to my direct access, but they weren't prepared to take anyone on the road unless they were confident you could handle that bike once you went onto the main road. So for that reason, I thought that the riding school that I was were very, very good. They obviously were thinking about their reputation and weren't really prepared to put anyone on the road, which I thought was pretty good, really. And it actually came highly recommended, and I'd recommend them to anyone, really. I thought they were very good. Because this guy that failed, I mean, clearly he couldn't even get it beyond first gear. He was struggling. He kept putting his feet down all the time. And, the instructor took him to one side, like, so I'm sorry, mate, but I'm not even going to take you for the afternoon session. You're not ready for going out on the road. I suggest maybe a couple of taster sessions on a car park over a couple of weeks, and then we'll perhaps get you back for a CBT, and we never saw him again. So,
yeah.
Which I thought was pretty, very, very good. They weren't prepared to take anyone out on the road because, they've got the reputation to think of, and also the lives of the person they're taking out, and also those that are around about us as well. So I thought that was very good of them, really.
I find it very strange that they decided to turn around and say, you don't go to a car park and get some practice in and then come back for your CBT. At the end of the day, that is compulsory basic training, and they're supposed to train them, and the whole idea is they're qualified trainers. So to tell them to go and get some practice in by somebody who's not, sort of being checked for testing somebody or for training somebody on a bike, it seems a bit strange. Well, they should.
When they said to do some more training in the car park, they meant come back to them and do the training in the car park. Not for him to bugger off and do it himself, because he just wasn't grasping any of it. And I think the instructor, I mean, bless him, he was so patient. I think I would have lost my rag, hours before then. He just said to him in the end, look, I'm not being funny, lad, but you're just not ready for this. I suggest you make another appointment with us, come back and we'll have a few sessions off-road, get you used to the bike, get used to you changing gear, and then once we're confident and you're confident about the bike, then we'll think about taking it on the road. No, they didn't send him off to do it on his own. They recommended he came back, booked another session with them to get him ready to maybe go out on the road. But at that point, he just wasn't ready whatsoever, and he was kind of holding everyone else up, really. And the instructor wasn't prepared at all to take him out on the road in the afternoon session. So that's what I meant.
I'll tell you about what the U.S. kind of does. I wouldn't go into a MFF course without knowing at least the basics, because when you go take that course in the U.S., it's kind of like a crash course. They're not there to teach you how to ride. They're kind of there to grade you on what they're not really there to say this is how you use the clutch, this is how you brake. They're kind of giving you a test the whole time. and it's not a place for training. And there needs to be a place for training. I haven't really seen it. I guess you can go to some places and get personal training, but like you said, you need to go to like a open area, parking lot, or a street and practice before you ever go to the course, because the course is going to charge you $150, $300, and if you don't pass, that money's gone. You got to come and pay it again before you can try it again. It's pretty much a crash course, is what it's called. There's 2 people that didn't pass that were in my group. There was only 9 of us. The one girl had never ridden a motorcycle in her life, and now she's behind the wheel, and she was a danger to herself, because I know the instructor's like, you know, he took her aside and it's like, there's no point in going any further because you're a danger to yourself and everybody around you. And the guy that got let go, he had a problem where he ran into one of the other bikers. You know, and I was like, yeah, you just put everybody in danger by not being able to control the bike. And yeah, what I did way before was I had my bike and I was going and teaching myself. I had it in my driveway and down the road. You know, I figured out everything before I ever went to a course. I rode for 4 years on a basic permit, like a learner's permit, before I ever took the course. Well, that's kind of crazy because when I went into it, you know, I could see from the beginner's point of view that they didn't have enough info to actually pass the course.
Yeah. And I get that. And I'll tell you something else, and something I've been holding on to, a little nugget of information for people in the UK. I guess Richard might know about this because Richard obviously does, in his spare time, does a lot of Googling of facts and everything else. But in terms of who's authorised to train somebody on how to ride a bike, there's 2 different things going on. There's the CBT, which is obviously the cause of question, in fact, and then there's the full-blown test. Now, in order to be an instructor for the full-blown test, you have to go to a proper test school, and you pass the test. There's a testing centre in Wales. I've looked into it, and you go through a proper government-stamped authentication process where you go through an exam and everything, and then, you know, if you're good enough and you know what you're doing, you'll be able to then go on to train other riders. But CBT, there is an exception, and that exception is it's called down training, and what it means is that anybody that's gone through the full-blown examination test therefore can teach and pass people on riding a motorbike for a full-blown license. They can train up to 10 people that they know and authorise them to hand out CBT certificates. So basically, Charlie goes down to Wales and he passes his full-blown examiner stroke instructor test thing. And then he comes back and he sees his mate John down the road and he says, "Yeah, do you want to go and teach CBTs? There you go. You know, I'll use one of my 10 gift vouchers, if you like, to go and train." And that's why CBT is a bit of potluck. So if you get CBT from a fully qualified instructor, I'm guessing it'll be more constructive and much better, opposed to somebody that's got a friend that's an instructor and says, "Yeah, there's, you know, you go and do some CBT. You basically just do this, that, and the other, and away you go." And I think that's what Mrs. B had. Mrs. B had what they call a down-trained instructor, which basically means that anyone's gone through the full test process has said to their mate across the road, "Yeah, you can go and do CBTs now," with no further instruction, recourse, or anything. And that's the problem with CBTs, is that some people are coming up against these down-trained trainers. Obviously not all of them, but essentially I think that's one of the main issues. And the other thing that I will add to this as well, obviously, is that when it comes to car driving in the UK, you have to pass the test properly, fully, before you're allowed to drive on your own. So why isn't it the same for motorbikes?
I think we're the only country in the world that you can ride or drive solo on L plates, even on a bike, which is ridiculous. You can be a learner and for your whole life just be learning. Well, everyone's learning, but at some point you're going to need to take a test.
Yeah, I mean, I've done 2 CBTs. I did one quite a number of years ago to ride the 125s that I had. Then I took a couple of years out from riding, and when I went to do my CBT, renew my CBT to do my direct access, I actually did my CBT the second time on a 600 because he knew I was doing a direct access. I went down for the CBT. I went round the mini course doing the slow manoeuvres so that he could see that I could handle the bike, and then he put me straight on a 600. We went out for a day and he classed that as my assessment as well. So it saved me a day's riding and the cost of a day's riding because it was all put into the CBT. But I did my second CBT on a 600 ready for my direct access test. But my first CBT was really good because they even laid bikes down and got you to pick them up. Tested every function on the bikes, including stands and everything. Did the slow manoeuvres, U-turns and everything on before we even went out on the road. So yeah, I think it's pot luck in relation to who you get and where you go. I think you've just got to do the research and go from recommendations really, rather than just looking for the cheapest one.
Yeah. What I've done there, I'm just sharing now. This is from the Aficionado government website. Become a DVSA assessed CBT instructor. But basically, when you qualify, you can train up to 10 instructors.
Wow.
Yeah, how bad is that?
That's a scam, isn't it?
You know, what's worse is having somebody not knowing how to teach somebody, teaching people.
Exactly, and then go on, who also don't know how to teach, to go and teach the CBT.
Wow.
So what you're saying then, Andy, if you went and done all this training, well, I think there's 8 or 9 of us here, you could come to us and say, do you want to be an instructor in my company? And we'd all say, if we wanted to, say yeah, and we can go out and teach these kids on these scooters.
Yeah, I wouldn't even have to train you. I just give you a bit of paper. Hey guys, you want to do CBT as a sideline? There you go. There's a little bit of paper. You can now go and do it and charge what you like.
Yeah.
Have fun with that.
Unbelievable.
Just to clarify, do you actually have to have a full A license, or can you teach CBT on a CBT? That would be okay.
The wording, I'll bring it back up so I'm not misquoted. I'll just quickly share my screen again. Quickly share that. So basically, if the instructor that passes the full-blown test, when you qualify, you can train up to 10 instructors at the ATV to also deliver CBT courses. It doesn't say whether or not those people that you train need to be of any age or of any qualification or of any experience. So basically, I could teach my kids, or just, no, I wouldn't teach them, obviously, I would just give them the things that go and show people how to ride a fucking scooter.
I think one word in the next line makes it kind of come true to life, and that's the word scheme.
Yeah.
So, Andy, I don't know if you know the question. How much does the instructor get, and how much does the government get? It was about 100 quid, isn't it, for this test? What is the split of that?
I don't know the numbers, mate, unfortunately. I know the trainers can charge what they like, but I don't know how much of that when you issue a certificate, how much that actually costs. I don't know on CBT. I'd have to look into that. I don't think it'll be a lot. I think the thing is the government make a lot of money on the other proper tests that, you know, someone at the age of 16 has to go through. I think it's something like, we really need Mrs. B for this one, but I think it's at least 5 tests that you could possibly take before you can actually ride a big bike, and all of those monies go to the government, a portion of anyway.
Just something I noticed on the site that you just put up, Andy.
Yeah.
Why do you have to do a separate test as an instructor to teach somebody on a 500cc bike as opposed to a 600? Said about to take a direct access instructor course.
Right. Okay. Again, this is where but essentially what it is that in the UK now, you cannot ride a full-powered bike above 600cc unless you take your test on that. In other words, you have to take your test on a 600cc bike. It might even be 650, but again, we need Mrs. B for that. So basically, if you took all your tests riding a 500, let's say an RG Gamma 500, one of my favourite little bikes I used to have, right now, this day and age, and you was 23, you would still not be able to ride any bike bigger than a 500cc. The only way you can ride any bike is to take your test on a 600 or a 650. So that's why there is another charge for that as well.
But why does an instructor need to do a separate test? When you look at their website, it says learn how to become a direct access instructor.
Hang on, let me share my screen again. Right, so that's the screen. So to become an instructor, CBT training course is the most learned riders. So, which bit?
The bit what you were saying is about the downgraded instructors.
Yeah, so basically when you qualify as a fully blown instructor for the whole shebang, to teach someone how to ride a bike of 600cc or more and then ride, when you qualify, when you get that, what's the word? Can't think of the word now, but anyway, basically when you qualify and you've got that certification to go out and teach people, it enables you to provide the CB test to learner riders, but also to train up to 10 instructors.
But then you have to apply to be able to teach the direct access course.
Yeah, I think this is based on this is only based on the CBT.
Right.
So let me just qualify. Sorry, let me just qualify that because I got a bit confused in myself. This is the page on how to become a CBT instructor, and when you pass the test to be a CBT instructor, you can train 10 other riders. So in actual fact, what I said was false, and that in actual fact you could teach the CBT instructors still not having been a fully blown instructor. This is only for the CBT only.
Right.
So it makes it even worse actually. I was assuming that they would have to be a properly fully qualified rider, but obviously not.
Surely there must have to be. There's quite an interesting bit on there for me that shows just how they don't know the difference between their arse and their elbow. It says to become one you have to have held an A2 license or an A license for at least 3 years and be 21 or over. You can't be 21 and hold an A2 license for 3 years.
No, you can't.
23, don't you?
You have to be 19 to do an A2. So you can't do it until you're at least 22, can you?
No.
But I think they just pluck ideas out of the air when they're doing motorbike stuff.
Yeah.
I think the people in charge are the people who don't have a clue what motorbike is about anyway. We really should in this country, and I suppose in every other country really, should have somebody in the government in charge of motorcycles who's a motorcyclist and knows what we go through, and maybe we can get somewhere with it. Yeah, you'd be the perfect bloke actually.
I'll do it for free. I'll do it for free. I won't even take a salary. I'll have the expenses, but not the salary.
Oh, well, you'll get more that way anyway.
Yeah,
so a second house then, Richard.
That's right. I need a second house with a big garage because obviously, in order to do this job properly, you need to try out every motorcycle there is.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I hate to hang out and run, but I got for me. So I'm gonna run and get my my youngins. But it has been swell, and I will see you guys next time.
See you later, Bobby, mate.
Hey, Bobby.
Yeah, Bobby.
Tuesday, mate.
Thank you, mate. Very
Good
visible.
afternoon, Bobby.
Later, guys.
Excellent. Okay, I'm conscious of time as well, so we've covered all of the topics pretty much, I think, tonight that was mentioned, so that's probably a first. But yes, it has got to that time where we should think about going off air, really. So let me just rifle through the Q&A, because there's a few in there as well, and then we'll see what happens from there. So the infamous biker, hi buddy, Kev, he says, sorry, I mean Tib. 125s are for gays, real men ride 50cc scooters. Okay, and that's your opinion, of course. He also says that the CVT is a farce. Yeah, I kind of agree with that, depending on who you get, of course. Oh, Tosh is in there as well, and he says, I think Stealth looks sexy in that mysterious way. Unlucky, Stealth, it looks like you've got another follower, and that's Tosh. Also, Grey Viper says, you do need to hold a full license for 3 years before you can take the CBT training. And following up from that, also he mentions the meetup, and he says, I'm in Skegness Friday the 6th and 7th. If anyone wants to meet up, let me know. I have lube and ready for you. Excellent. Okay, cheers.
I'm prepared.
I can bring your mask. I can bring my mask if you want. Yeah. Why Skeggy?
I was just answering Kev's question about the scooter riders on 50 PCs.
All right, okay. So we'll quickly go on from that. Nothing like a mangina. Okay. Let's go to Captain El Capitan. He says, I agree with you, Keith. My CBT was very thorough. I think it might be a problem with the regulation of the CBT schools. Yeah, I think we just talked about that.
No, Sherlock.
Like, who gets the certificate to then go on to train other people? Like the man in the street, really. Also, Grey Viper says, I think no matter what test you take, you should have passed the theory first. Agreed. And the CBT should be a pass or fail, not here's a bike, this is how you get on it, here's the gear, here's the clutch, here's the brakes, go kill yourself. Well, actually, on the CBT, apparently, you don't even need a clutch. Just twist and go and kill yourself. Brilliant. He also says that was a typo. I'm not sure which typo that was, but anyway, no worries.
Go kiss yourself was the what he was trying to say.
Oh, go kiss yourself.
Go kiss yourself.
Yeah, that's going back to his other invite for a meetup. But anyway, let's there. Tosh, oh here we go. He says, I've been riding a bike for many years. I still can't ride a stick. Okay.
God, he's getting worse.
I hope the RSPCA aren't watching tonight. Also, he says he's been doing a lot of things for many years, hasn't he, Tosh? He also says, I've been in love with DB for many years. And of course, that
stands for calm biker in that case.
Of course, calm
biker. I thought it was like amateur radio stuff.
Do you know what? Do you know what the weird thing is, right? If you reverse CB, you get BC, which is, of course, the Bat Cave.
Yep.
It's all wrong, and it all. If you ever get an invite from Calm Bikers to come to his Bat Cave, think carefully and take it.
It's a dark and dismal place.
Yes. Note the exit.
All I'd say, get ready to brace yourself.
Yeah, brace for impact. Right, okay. And finally, from Grey Viper, he says, it seems that Tosh and CB are in love. Yes, well, we've covered that one quite extensively on the hangout. And I'm sure there'll be many more moments where they reveal their love for each other.
Oh, God.
He says he's going to let me use his special thing that sucks the fluid through. Because I was just going to
No
be
comment.
twizzling on the nipples until the fluid came out by itself.
Yeah.
Apparently he's got a special.
Is he talking about one of those breast expressors, is he?
Oh, it's apparently it's quite a few horsepower. It's a very
Oh my
powerful
God.
tool he has.
Okay, this
Oh my god.
is one. So thanks everyone for tuning in. I just want to quickly say before we do anything else, say hello to Weggy, who's just joined us at the last moment. Weggy, you want to say hello?
Green.
Yeah. Bye.
Thanks for joining Weggy at the last minute. It's really appreciated.
No problem, buddy. No problem.
Excellent. So anyway, everyone, thank you for watching tonight. There's been quite a few viewers tonight. It's been great. It's been magic. It's been wonderful. Thanks for all the questions. And now it's time for everyone on the panel to say goodbye, because we're going to go offline and say how it really is. So let's go first of all to Danny. Would you like to say goodbye to everyone, Danny?
Goodbye, everybody.
Excellent. Very succinct. Keith.
Goodbye, everybody. See you next week.
Wow, he's getting better. That wasn't quite as uncomfortable as normal.
I'm trying to avoid doing that.
Okay, Peds.
Bye.
Yeah, that's kind of awkward.
He's taking over from Keith. Reverse roles.
Well, Tosh isn't here, so you know.
Yeah. Okay, Richard.
Can I just hijack for 10 seconds
Go on then.
before I say goodbye? For those of you who are interested in joining up or meeting up on the way down to the Ace Cafe on Saturday, this is where we are planning to meet. So it's a Morrison's near Peterborough. There's your postcode. The intention is that we'll be there and leaving there about 9:30, but seeing as we've got about 2.5 hours to get down there, it could be a little bit later than that. But definitely hang around till 9:30. So anybody who's heading down that way, fancies meeting up, will be in the car park of that.
Excellent. And it's not a McDonald's as well, which is always good.
That's because I chose it.
That's right.
I chose a McDonald's.
Yeah. Skeggy did say she'll go to McDonald's, but I would rather devour petrol than whatever that is that they put in.
And of course...
Goodbye, everybody. Bye-bye.
Yeah, right. Cheers, Richard. And of course, other fast food joints are available. And I believe you have to mention at least 3, is it? So, Burger King and Pizza Hut.
I didn't go into Burger King.
KFC.
No, no. And KFC. There you go. So we've totally covered ourselves. Right, let's go on to Skeggy then. Would you like to say goodbye to everyone?
I would. I'd like to say goodbye, my fellow friends. Keep your bike shining side up, and remember, try and keep your bitches out the ditches.
Very good. Keep your bitches out your ditches. Right. Stealth, would you like to say goodbye to everyone, buddy?
Yeah. First, we'll say don't trust any links that Bobby sent you because they don't work. That was 3 fails before I got an actual link from Andy. So we'll say goodbye to everybody on panel and everybody watching on the outside. It's great to be in the inside.
Excellent. Cheers, Stealth, buddy. Okay, let's go across the sub again. Andy, would you like to say goodbye?
Well, I'd like to say goodbye to all my lovers out there, and a bit of advice this week: if you ever go around Tarshish, make sure you've got protection and lubricant.
Cheers, Andy. Weggy, would you like to say goodbye as well, please, sir?
Absolutely, mate. I've enjoyed the last 2 hours. It's been absolutely fantastic. The the conversation laughs. It's splendid. It's been fantastic. Looking forward to it next time. Goodbye, everybody.
Cheers, thank you very much. And therefore, there only is for me to say thank you for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you found it interesting. We're back here next week. But until then, it's goodbye from the fully loaded Thursday night hangout. So don't forget to ride safe.
Boobs.
Boobs. Ride invisible. All right, bitches. Right, thanks for watching. Goodbye.
Bye.